Welcome back, everybody. Imagine trying to capture on a page the numerous swirling thoughts you have throughout the course of a day. Sounds pretty impossible, right? Well, author Rebecca Watson is up for the challenge in Little Scratch. It is her debut novel, giving readers the somewhat daunting task of trying to keep up with the main character's thoughts. Okay, here's what I mean. Take a look at this. So you're used to reading from left to right, correct? Well, throw that out the window. Watson drips words down the pages and writes them in columns, all helping to capture the confusion and anxiety of a young woman processing trauma. Rebecca Watson is joining us now from London, England this morning. Rebecca, so great to talk to you this morning. Good to have you on the show.
Oh, it's so good to be here.
Let's start with something that obviously jumps right off the page. That is the style of this novel. The format of this is not traditional. It takes a minute for your mind to sort of catch up with the style of this. Talk to us a little bit about why you decided to write it in this format.
Sure. The form arrived from thinking about immediacy. I wanted to write about experience, second by second, rather than thinking about something more linearly. Looking at how the sensory, the internal, and the physical collide and distract from each other. So that was kind of like a pressure point. And I had to break apart prose to do that because, prose relies on you waiting for something. But the idea was, though, that even though it looks strange, once you start reading, you sort of recognize these patterns of how you think. And you kind of, become the character yourself.
And that really was part of the way that you wanted the reader to feel, right? To become part of this character.
Definitely. For me, I kind of saw it as a challenge. I wanted the reader to see if they could really test themselves. And it's kind of like playing a video game or something. And the idea is, in reading, you can actually just inhabit someone else's head for the whole day in the life.
Can you tell us a little bit about the protagonist, who she is and what she's up against?
Sure. So she's a young woman in her 20s. She is an admin assistant. She works at this big media company. She's kind of every woman, and she goes through these quite sort of mundane routines of commuting to work and stapling. But underneath these sort of mundane structures is something more intense. She's suppressing a trauma. And so it's, looking at the way that trauma sort of ensnares even the sort of smallest of parts of a day.
So she is nameless in this. We never figure out her actual name. Why was that so important?
I guess for several reasons. I mean, I wanted her to be transferable. I wanted any reader to see themselves in her and, kind of almost it could be anyone. I also felt as a writer, I mean, the experience of writing it was very instinctive. I actually kind of heard her as a voice in my head, very loud. So I kind of didn't want to interrupt that, what felt like a very magic experience by kind of naming her. I felt like that would be kind of caging her in.
Now, you mentioned trauma. It's clear she is processing trauma. What did you want the book to say about trauma and, of course, healing with that?
I think portrayals of trauma often focus on the climaxes, the huge moments of suffering. I think for me, it was important that you saw trauma in its entirety, what it would be like to be inside the head of someone for a day nonstop, rather than just in those moments of extremities. I think it's disingenuous to portray someone who is experiencing trauma as, purely miserable. And there's a real one-tone way that we think about survivors of a soul. Someone who experiences trauma can also love sincerely. They can enjoy sex. They can eat a packet of crisps with relish. So I wanted all of those moments to be displayed.
It is incredibly unique, so nuanced. Rebecca, we appreciate your time this morning and congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. The book, everybody, is called Little Scratch.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.